everybody. If you are tuning in after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying. There will be timestamps below if you are interested in skipping to qualifying and the start of the race. Those will be popped into the description after the stream has finished. We will catch you in just a moment. We're getting everybody else into the lobby and setting up our streams. See you in a moment. That'll help if I actually save the thumbnail onto my computer before I try to upload it to YouTube. Good stuff. Oh damn, we're ready now.
Yep, we're off.
Oh, hello everybody and good evening. My name is Sumo, your commentator for this evening, and joining me once again is the 4-time sprint champion Ghost for some APPF1 Tier 2 action. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing alright. I had a pretty dull day, so a good way to spice it up is a Tier 2 race around a new track in Miami.
Yes, the Hard Rock Stadium is the host of this tonight's Formula 1 event, well, APPF1 event. We are, of course, at the Miami International... I'm going like no script. It's the Miami International Autodrome is what it's officially called. The stadium, of course, is home to the Miami Dolphins, and it's home to a number of sporting events now, including the most prestigious motorsport in the world. And my timing was already weird on the qualifying, but we're not going to go there. Anyway, this 5.412 kilometer circuit then. God, I really should have written this down. Boasts 19 corners, and some of which are incredibly tricky. The exit into turn 3 is incredibly difficult to get on the power, and some drivers will be struggling there. The never-ending corner of turns 7 and 8 as well, drivers will find incredibly difficult to navigate and find the fastest way through. There's a hugely long straight that follows an incredibly technical section from turns 11 to 16, with the straight heading down into the final couple of corners, where there's a hard area of traction once again as you put the power down into turn 18. Drivers are going to struggle here as the wall's ever present. What are your feelings on this new addition to the Formula 1 calendar, guys?
It's certainly one of the tracks that's ever been in Formula 1. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, it's another street circuit with walls everywhere, which is boring. On the other hand, it's got some decent overtaking spots. The hairpin at the end of the very big long straight that you were talking about, also at the end of the other DRS straight. Not the main straight, the other one. And also turn 1 can be an overtaking spot, so there's plenty of ways to overtake people, but I don't know, there's just some sections which are a bit, why is that there kind of deal. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this track.
Yeah, it's certainly one that you either love or you hate. I think it's I definitely think it has its place on the calendar, but it might take a few more races to cement itself. And we're going to take a little look toward the championship now, as I get my standings up. Tier 2 standings thus far. We'll have a quick little look. If they want to load, if Discord wants to behave today. Lawrence then is going to be leading the championship into tonight's race, sat on 24 points in his Alpine, closely followed by Muhiti, just 4 points behind. Pommy Alex sits in a solid P4 after scoring his first podium of the season, as Scott Rowley has taken a little spin at that never-ending corner, which means I think little Manny Man will be the next driver. So I know you will be our championship leader's gone for a spin as well. Not a good start for a lot of the drivers out this evening. But anyway, then Fido Man is in P4 on 16 points, Mr. J-Man 15, Spartan Keith, QB, Celica, Scott, all lining along. I believe Scott is one of the reserves, so he won't be in the actual championship itself, unless I'm mistaken.
He is in the championship itself.
Oh, he is in the championship. Okay.
Yes, Scott M89, that one. He's gotten himself a seat. Yeah, he's opponent driver now. He's in the championship.
All right, there we go then. But it's more or less as they finished from the first round, as it is the first round of points. But the battle for the constructors looks like it's going to be between Alpine and Ferrari, as they took up the top 4 positions in the race previous, with the other teams way off, with the next closest about over half the points from the Ferrari team. So keep an eye on those scarlet red cars and those blue and pink Alpines. Any thoughts on the championship so far, Chris?
Yeah, it's looking really interesting. Muhisi's just gone P3, so that's a really good opening lap from Mr. J-Man, actually, 29.2. Yeah, I mean, before the season started, I mean, we were all thinking Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull would be contenders, but obviously both Mercedes having to miss the first race last week, and Crozer not feeling well last week either, and not able to make this week. Red Bull and Mercedes have just not been able to score the points, and Ferrari, we thought that would give Ferrari a clean getaway into the top spot, but Alpine have come out of nowhere. It's been Fido Man and Lawrence have been the ones to watch these last couple of weeks. Oh well, this last week anyway.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I think this championship might not be the cakewalk that Ferrari might have thought it would be, as they've got some challenges there at the front. Tonight's action, of course, is brought to you once again by Positive Perception Media Design Products. They've been our sponsor here for Tier 1 for a very long time, and I would really appreciate it if you went over to their socials and gave them all the love and support that you show us over here, as it is very much appreciated. Head over to their Facebook, their Instagram, and their YouTube as well, if you want to see some awesome liveries and some awesome racing content, as well as Henry and the Aston Martin goes for 1 minute 30.3. Few slower laps coming in. I think you might see a couple drivers just eke into the lower 28s as the session does progress. The Ferraris are out, but they're going on laps. We have missed the opening few laps here. I want to try and find somebody who's about to start a lap, because I want to do a little tour of the circuit. I will find somebody.
Mr. J-Man's lap is proving better and better with every car that crosses the line at the moment. Scott has retired from the session. Where's that? I think that might be in the pit lane. Okay, so I don't know. I would have thought Scott would have wanted to get more practice, but that's an odd one. I'm sure he'll explain. JBS Steve about to come across the line. He's P5. Mr. J-Man is still on provisional pole, Sumo.
Wow, it's an incredible run from Mr. J-Man, and it looks like he might be getting in the mix as well. The Alpine's not doing so well. Lawrence hasn't posted a time yet. I think invalidating and maybe going for a spin was our championship leader. Fido Man didn't get a decent lap in, a representative time that is. His little planning man, someone else found their way into the top 10 just now, I think. Well, perhaps I was wrong. But anyway, I'm very disorientated on this commentary stream. The Spartan Keith is now out on the track in his Red Bull, coming through the second sector.
Now, I've been riding on board with him through this first sector. It looked pretty clean. It's gone purple on the screen, but I don't trust purple sectors on this game at the moment in spectator mode, so we'll ignore that. But he is coming to sector 2 now. That's a good braking into that left-hander and down to this really slow, patient section. You've got to be so patient with the car and willing to slow right down, especially for that right-hander that never seems to end, or double right-hander I should say. But Spartan coming onto the very long DRS straight and into the final hairpin.
Yeah, it's a very heavy braking zone. This one of the prime overtaking opportunities. The exit of the corner is very crucial, and it is incredibly easy to lose all traction and spin the car coming through there. Looks like Spartan Keith has navigated it well. This will be a decent time. I'm not sure it will threaten. Oh, it will. It will threaten the top. As it's a 29.0 from Spartan Keith. So finally, Mr. J-Man's lap comes tumbling down the order into P2 now, and Mr. J-Man's out again on the track. He didn't have the best of races last time out when we were in Bahrain, but I'm sure he will be looking to go one better, or do better at least this time around. Let's see how else is out on track. Jamie F1 just starting a lap as well. Coming on board, is that Lolo Matter? Lolo Matter's about to finish, but he's invalidated. That's a shame for him. I'll tell you what, we'll follow along with Pommy Alex. He's about to start a lap. We'll keep an eye on those lap times, but let's take a little tour around the Miami circuit then, and we ride on board with my favourite driver, even though I'm not allowed to have one. Pommy Alex said flat out all the way into the first corner. Very tricky corner, I find this one, with the braking zone. And in this very tricky section, you've got to be so patient, find the exact right spot to put the power down. Pommy Alex a little bit tentative through there, and then it's a short lift and it's a lift and a shift down into the next couple of corners, and then a very patient corner. So easy to run a little bit too wide. You've got to carry as much speed and then up the gears and on the throttle as you go into this long section. He's getting the toe off his teammate Mahiti, who's giving it to him, giving that little extra boost to get him a much faster lap time than he would have had before. Coming down this straight now with the DRS open. Another heavy braking zone as you come into turn 11. This is the technical section of the track now, and the driver's got to be very patient and careful through here. That long corner, and then up the hill into this chicane where you downshift twice, throw the car in and hope you see the other side. And then this left-hander can prove quite tricky, especially on the exit. And then onto this long straight now. One of the prime overtaking opportunities. It's a purple sector 2 for Pommy Alex, but don't take that at face value at the moment. He's got 3 more corners to navigate if he is going to complete this lap. Then into this heavy braking zone of turn 17, and then careful on the power as you come out into turn 18. Bit tentative through there, turn 19, and then across the line almost immediately, a 29.2 from the Australian.
And Lawrence just about beats him just afterwards, the championship leader, into P3 with a decent lap. Remember, he's...
Here comes J-Man, 2/10 up. This could be provisional pole once again.
It is
28.8.
Wow, J-Man, where has this pace come from? You love to see it. He's been, where did he finish last week? I think he had a good result last week. Yeah, he finished 5th last week.
Oh, he did finish 5th. I thought he did worse than that.
And he was 7th on the grid, but he's never shown this kind of pace before, so this is fantastic stuff from Mr. J-Man. I'm sure he'll be happy.
Tearing to P6 with that last lap of 29.3. Very close to Muhiti there. This could be quite the race at the front this evening. I've seen a few races on the Miami circuit now, and it does provide some decent racing, especially on the game. It seems that tracks that don't tend to race well in real life race very well on in the virtual world, and that has proven often in a lot of tier 2 races, especially as tier loses the rear and his right end plate.
Yeah, Henry lost the rear there into turn 3, I think that is, as well in the Aston Martin. Scott is in my chat. By the way, there's 6 people watching the Onboard stream and only 3 watching Sumo. So guys, go over to Sumo Gilligan's channel, leave my Onboards in the background if you want. But Sumo is where the broadcast is, so go watch that. But Scott is in my chat, and he said he was doing a practice pit entry and Alpine was going super slow, and Scott decided not to crash into the Alpine and instead crash into the barrier, and unfortunately DNF'd him.
That is a shame for Scott in the AlphaTauri, but he'll be having to fight his way through the grid in this session afterwards. We've got about 5.5 minutes left on the clock then for qualifying. We're having a look. We've got the Mercedes finally here. They're going to be on the back foot in this championship fight, and they're going to need to score big if they want to get themselves back in it. We'll keep an eye. Jamie F1 just starting a lap now. Also it's QB in the McLaren as well. Only once again, only one Red Bull, so no closer again this week. That is going to be a shame for the Red Bull outfit after their championship win.
Yeah, I believe he's on holiday, so
there we go.
Hope he enjoys himself. But yeah, it's a huge loss for Red Bull for the second week in a row. So we'll see how they do with that. Jamie F1 is on a lap. I don't know how he didn't invalidate there. He went very wide on that never-ending left-hander, but managed to slow down enough for the game to forgive him. He's currently in P7. Mercedes 7 and 8 right now, but yeah, Lawrence is P3. Remember, he's the only driver here who's sort of been nerfed because he can't make Tier 1 on Fridays. So we've said that he can race in Tier 2 as long as he has the line off, and he's doing that, so fair play to him, and he's doing well, and he won last week, and it was a close race, so it's great to see some close racing, and good that Lawrence can still race well in Tier 2.
Yeah, I just noticed that there's no... Oh no, there are sector lines, but they're hidden by the DRS activation zones. So you can't really see them.
Whoa,
That's how Jamie F1 improves by 3/10 and goes into P3 in the Mercedes there. That's a decent lap for sure. Just a quick hello to Scott Rowley, hello O'Neill, hello Rick, hello Fando as well. Fando did a lap for that ERS, so he did another quali lap with one tyres.
Spartan Keith on pole, 28.6. Wow. Just about beats out Mr. J-Man. JBS Steve is on a much better lap as well. He's not going to challenge for pole, but he is going to move up to P6 and splits the Ferraris. Look how close those times are between sort of P3 all the way down to P8. So it's looking like a very good race, but Mr. J-Man and Spartan Keith, the class of the field at the moment.
Yeah, certainly so. They're really throwing down the gauntlet in pace. We're coming into the middle of the 128s now. These are some very solid lap times. The drivers finding a lot of improvement out there as the circuit reaches, as the session reaches its end and the circuit reaches its optimal qualifying conditions. So we've got a little bit of time left, but I think the runners who have just finished laps aren't going to have time to set another one. So I think the first to finish a lap is going to be, I want to say, Muhiti, because I think he took an extra cool lap for this run. So we'll see where he comes as he when he crosses the sector 2 line on the exit of turn 16.
Yeah, I think Muhiti's going to be the next as well. It's coming through this slow section, the double right-hander. You've got yellow flags, someone's just letting someone through at the main straight. Muhiti very slow through there, and he's backed off, so no improvement this time for Muhiti. I think he's going to go for another cooldown lap because he won't have time if he comes back into the pits to set another lap. So keep an eye on the Turkish driver. JBS Steve, he's not on a lap yet. Maybe he's going back in the pits. Pommy Alex is on a lap though, in the other Ferrari.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic. I was just watching on tier, so I think he's backing off on this lap and he's going to go again.
Yeah.
There's about 4 cars making their way through that very twisty section in sector 2 there, but we'll see as Pommy Alex comes through. Is he backed off as well? No, he's just going slowly through this slow section, as you'd probably imagine. Or maybe he has.
He did back off. He did back off. Yeah. Yeah, this is reminding me of Monza in real life a little bit. Tier has let someone through as well, so a lot of people letting others through. Muhiti is on another lap at the moment in that Ferrari, so he is going again, but this will be his last chance. So if he can't improve, he will be. Yeah, he's 6/10 down. So Muhiti is not going to be improving, which is a big surprise. Jamie is out of the session, as is Lalo Mado. That's at turn 3. Lalo has crashed. I believe Jamie is in the pit lane. So I'm just going to run on board with Mr. J-Man. Oh my god, Lalo's right in the middle of the track. That's a huge distraction. They will go through him, but it is a massive distraction to the cars on laps. And that could have cost Mr. J-Man maybe a 10th, because he did slow down a little bit as he comes through now to the next part of the track. Where's the sector line?
There's a big spin for Fabi Frostmaster in the second sector there. He's gone into the barrier. I think the car's alright, but that lap is gone. for the Haas driver. Tommy Alex is way back there. I was looking at the wrong Ferrari. He's a small improvement on his previous.
Mr. J-Man was a second down in Sector 1, so he won't improve. Lil Manny Man's coming through in the Williams. That's who I'm riding on board with. I don't know if anyone else is on a lap. He's gone for a little spin, though. Sorry.
It's so close in the midfield. I was just looking, and Tier was on a lap, but that traffic really messing him up. We might see some reports of qualifying blocking in the stewards room a little bit later after the race has finished. As I think Tier was definitely blocked on multiple occasions during that session.
Yeah, maybe. Just looking in the Discords. Yeah, no one's talking about being blocked just yet. QB is going to be the next to set a lap, I believe. I think everyone in front of him has abandoned their lap, unless Pommy Alex. No, Pommy Alex is in the pit, so QB is 4/10 down, though, in the second sector. And yeah, QB also into the pits, so that will be your qualifying session unless Fido Man is on the lap. He is, he's 4.5 tenths up, so Fido Man could be the last one to improve. I think he's only realistically got a chance at beating Henry into P9, but it would still be an extra position for the Alpine.
Yeah, this could see him a couple places up. He may even might reach Tier if he gets a huge improvement here, but it doesn't look like it.
No.
It does pit Henry for P9. And knocks down the Aston Martin. A bit of a confusing final few minutes of the qualifying session then.
Yeah.
As Fido Man ends it. I don't think anybody improved on their final run other than Fido Man.
Yeah, I don't think they did. It was the board has stayed exactly the way it was. Yeah, that will be your qualifying. Muhiti down in P7, that's the surprise. But Mr. J-Man, I think, I know Spartan Keith gets his first pole position in APP, so fantastic job to him. But Mr. J-Man is the biggest shock, really, on the grid. He's on the front row, which he's not been anywhere near in the past, so fantastic job to Mr. J-Man. And I'll let you run through the grid, Sumo.
So Spartan Keith then claims his first pole position in APPF1 Tier 2 and he's lined up alongside Mr. J-Man on the front row of the grid. A great qualifying session for the Williams driver. Jamie F1 makes his return to Tier 2 and lines up alongside Lawrence, our championship leader, on the second row of the grid. Pommy Alex and JBS Steve share grid number 3, with Muhiti and Tier sharing grid spot, well, row number 4. Look how close their times are in the midfield. But anyway, Fido Man and Henry round off the top 10, with Femi Fussmaster, Little Manny Man, Scott Rowley, QBV and Lalo Maddo making up the rest of the grid. And there was about less than a tenth, maybe a tenth between positions 4 to 8, I think.
Yeah, it was insanely close in the midfield, so I think we've got a fantastic race on our hands, but it could end up being a chaotic race, because with a lot of cars that close together in Miami, a track like this, we could end up seeing some carnage. I hope not, but I do think it's a possibility.
It is certainly, and street circuits do harbour a little bit of chaos, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw at least one safety car throughout tonight's race. And I'll need to put my laptop on charge, and it's all tangled up in a thing, and I'm annoyed.
Remember, no formation lap, so we will be getting underway immediately, but they do have warm tyres now. Thanks to the patch yesterday, they will have heated up tyres for the start, despite the lack of formation laps. So
I thought it was only for offline modes.
They did fix it for online as well. They just didn't say it for some reason.
Thanks, Codemasters.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Codemasters. Can you fix formation laps in general now, please? But we're off. Here we go.
5 red lights for the Miami Grand Prix. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, no,
what is happening?
What is happening?
Session's being weird again.
There we go.
And we're underway for the Miami Grand Prix. Miss Jamie F1 has got an incredible start and is on at the back of, oh, there's a bit of carnage. That's a huge crash into turn one. I can't even see what exactly happened there. No safety car. Tier goes into the lead of this race, but is challenged immediately by Spartan Keith, who gets right back up into the action as well. Mr. J-Man on the outside of the Aston Martin. Who's going to come in front? It is the Williams of Mr. J-Man ahead.
Oh, that's contact.
Another crash. There's Scott Rowley out. Not out of the race, but spun out of here, and Mr. Femi Frostmaster has spun as well. Absolute carnage on the first couple of corners. Some drivers got incredibly good starts and went challenging for the lead very early on. I'll try and get all of the things up now and let Ghost say something.
What on earth happened there? I think it might have been something to do with Lalo Mado. Maybe it was to do with the lobby as well being weird. Scott is just going around the outside of Lil Manny Man for P8, and he's made the move.
More contact.
And Pommy Alex has gone for it as well. There's more contact at the back. Is that as these midfield cars swap positions? It's a good move from Scott and Pommy Alex. Up to P9 goes to Ferrari after a getting caught up in the start, but he doesn't seem to have any damage, the Australian, so he's lucky there. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to review that one after the race. I do not know what happened as Tier tries to size up the move on Mr. J-Man, and Mr. J-Man goes deep, and Tier could have a go here.
Yeah, Tier's looking very racy off the start of this race at the moment. He had a great time out a little while ago. Tier's up 5 places, and so is Lalo Mado at the minute. Lawrence going on the attack on the Aston Martin. Down the inside he goes, side by side they go. Incredible racing from the two to avoid contact with one another, and Tier, he's lost the rear and has cost him the position, and Lawrence has moved up into P3. Lawrence does have a time penalty though, and that will affect him at the end of the race, and the other Aston Martin has spun. That's Henry out of turn 3. Yeah,
Henry went for a spin as well. Tier nearly going into the back of Lawrence there. A little bit of a different line through that never-ending left-hander. But Tier trying to make the move back on Lawrence, but he's got to stay with the Alpine at this point. I believe Lawrence has a penalty for the absolute carnage at turn 1, whether it was his fault or not. Yeah, we'll have to see how that shakes up.
Scott goes, sorry to cut you off, he's going up the inside of Pommy Alex into turn 11. They're going to go side by side. Pommy Alex all the way around the outside, leaves Scott nowhere to go on the exit, and Pommy defends that position incredibly well.
Great stuff from Pommy Alex. Scott is on the soft. Lalo Mado's now gone for a spin, and Henry's gone with him as well into the wall. They've both lost their front wings, but yeah, Scott on the soft tyres. Almost everyone starting on the hards here, with a few on the mediums as well. Spartan Keith notably starting on the mediums, whereas all of the 4 cars behind him.
He's going to go around the outside of Mr. J-Man. He's no way through, perhaps looking to go underneath the Williams as they come into the next couple of corners. He's all over the back of Mr. J-Man at the moment. Is our championship leader, and he's got the run on him now, all the way around the outside. Incredibly tight stuff, but Lawrence makes it into P2 at the moment. Mr. J-Man's going to come back at him now after going deep. There's the Alpine, and the Alpine manages to fend him off for the time being, but J-Man is all over the back of Lawrence.
Great racing between those two there. Muhiti is right behind these guys as well.
And Scott and Pommy Alex switching positions once again, as Scott gets ahead of the Australian.
That must have been a good move from the Alpha Tauri. That was in an odd position to make an overtake, so it must have been a decent one, or Pommy made a mistake. I'm running on with Tier, still right behind Mr. J-Man now, as the Williams starts falling down the order.
Yeah, Mr. J-Man is dropping in pace, and Tier is looking very racy in these opening stages at the moment. Hopefully he can keep it up throughout the entirety of the race. There's a huge battle going on. There's about 4 cars in the fight for what is P2, maybe 5 cars actually.
Yeah,
and Spartan Keith has just run away with it at the moment. 2.8 seconds.
Yeah, he's making the most of those medium tyres. He got way off the line, avoided all the absolute carnage at turn 1. Again, I have no idea what happened there. I was on the onboard, so I couldn't tell. But JBS Steve looking to make the move on Muhiti here.
Yeah, he's going to go around the outside. He might find himself with nowhere to go with cars ahead of him as well. No move made from the Mercedes at the moment. Had to back out of it. This could bring Scott into the action as well. He is on those softer tyres. He's going for a much more aggressive strategy. Remember, he did this in Bahrain as well. He went for the softs at the start and then onto the hards for the rest of the race. He might be able to try and do that again here. We'll have to keep an eye. Scott is normally quite good with his tyres in these races, and now Scott and Pommy Alex are brought into this fight for the podium.
Henry's got himself a 5-second penalty for pit lane speeding further back. As Scott Rowley and QB, the two McLarens swapping positions there. Further back, Scott on those soft tyres, he is flying, but how long are those tyres going to last him? And how much of an advantage can he gain from them? Remember, he runs no line as well, Scott, and he has had barely any practice. All his practice time was taken by the update.
He's looking around the outside of the Aston Martin. They're going to go side by side now into turn 11. Barely any ERS for the Ferrari. Swoops all the way around the outside of the Aston. Manages to just keep it on track and claim the position.
Great move from the Turkish driver as he continues his hunt to try and be in the fight for the championship. Yeah, a bit of contact.
Right over the chicane there and almost hits the side of the Ferrari. That was incredibly close.
I think there was slight contact there, but they've both gotten away with it, thankfully. Yeah, Muhiti needs to continue his charge up the field because Lawrence is currently sitting 4 points ahead of him in the championship. So Muhiti hoping to regain some of those points today.
It's a bit of a mistake from Tier on the exit of turn 17. Scott has gone on the attack. It looks like JBS Steve was caught napping there, and Scott has gone straight up the inside and got the place before the corner. May struggle on the exit a little bit as JBS Steve seems to have a little bit more grip as those tyres are starting to wane. Very little ERS between a lot of these drivers here. Scott's used quite a bit in these early stages of the race.
Those soft tyres really working out for the British driver, the former sprint champion in APPF1. He does have that little yellow star next to his name in the leaderboard to signify that, but he's going to be under pressure from JBS Steve here as the Mercedes will have DRS, but so will the AlphaTauri. So it's going to be tough for JBS Steve to get past, to get past.
Very little ERS for either of the two drivers. Scott brakes very, very late, almost going into the back of Tier there, but manages to just get the car stopped before any contact happens. That gap is slowly starting to come down at the front. Looks like Scott Rowley's had a little bit of a spin a bit further back on the exit of turn, I want to say 10. I could be wrong. It's many a corner, maybe it's turn 8.
I'm not sure, but Pommy Alex has got an opportunity here. He's got a lot more ERS than JBS Steve, and he's going to go down the inside at the hairpin. He's certainly going to have a look. He scares JBS Steve into a wide line, but it's not quite enough for him to make the move. A little bump of tyres, but Pommy Alex has to stick behind for now.
Yeah, Mr. J-Man starting to come under pressure from Muhiti now. These guys have split off a little bit into a few separate battles, but they're all still incredibly close to one another. Pommy Alex has got that time penalty for cutting the chicane in sector 2. That's going to hinder his run. He's going to have a look around the outside through this fast left-hander. Surely not from the Australian. He does. He goes all the way around the outside of JPS Steve after his mistake. And Pommy Alex up at the P7.
Mistake from Tier. No! He's gone and he's down all the way down to P9. Lil Manny Man's a long way back, but Tier will be kicking himself for that. He was right with the pack, and now he's got to play catch up once again.
Every time Tier.
Here comes Mr. J-Man on Lawrence. He's not given up the Williams. He's still right behind this Alpine. Lalo gets a 5-second pit lane penalty. Further back as Scott's gone on the soft tyres.
No,
into the wall. Is there damage? Yes, there is. No end plate on that AlphaTauri. He's going to have to come into the pits, but surely he would have been coming in pretty soon anyway. He's going to be vulnerable to Tier, but I think that AlphaTauri will be into the pits pretty soon.
Yeah, certainly. I lose a chunk of extra time on that pit stop. But Mr. J-Man looking very racy. Lawrence straight into the pits. On the hard tyres, perhaps damage on the Alpine, perhaps on the start of the race. We'll have a look as he comes into the pit lane. That's going to put Muhiti right on the back of Mr. J-Man. And it's a wing change, yeah, no front right end plate.
Yeah, and he'll have to take that 5-second penalty as well, whether it was just or not. So Lawrence on the back foot here. I don't know if that was sustained at the start or whether he hit a wall somewhere. I think he may have hit a wall because he was flying until he overtook Mr. J-Man, and then after that he seemed to drop back again, and Mr. J-Man was back on terms. So I think he might have tagged a wall somewhere, which is unfortunate for the championship leader, but it gives Muhiti a chance to claw back some points.
Yeah, it certainly does. And now Spartan Keith is 4 seconds up the road. He's really made use of those medium tyres, and it's got some incredible pace at the moment around the circuit. Yellow flag in sector 2. I'm not sure what that's for. Perhaps a lapped car it is. I think it's Lalo Mado as drivers are making their way through. Scott Tier having a little battle. He has stayed out for the moment, yeah. So I definitely think he's going to try and go onto the hard tyres to the end, and maybe hope for a safety car.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't have that end plate, so there's significant damage to that Alpha Tauri. So considering that, he's doing pretty well to stay where he is. But I do think Tier could have him pretty soon on those hard tyres. There's Tommy Alex coming through. I thought someone had spun there, but no, everyone's fine. As Muhiti now putting the pressure on Mr. J-Man.
And in comes Scott finally. Into the pits he comes to see Alpha Tauri. Muhiti putting J-Man under pressure at the moment. Let's see what Scott does as he peels into the pits. It will obviously be a wing change, but what compound is he going on? I think that's mediums. It is.
So 2 stop for the British driver. It could be a mark issue, giving him the wrong tyres, or could just be that he was going for the 2 stop, or that he didn't want to risk any longer on that broken front wing, as that's Lalo Mado again going for another spin in the Alfa Romeo.
Mr. J-Man, Muhiti has used a lot of ERS on this opening stint, and I think he needs to think about just saving some and staying with J-Man for the time being.
Yeah, definitely. But Mr. J-Man has got 70%. He's got a massive ERS advantage on Muhiti. And of course, Muhiti won't know this in the cockpit. So whether he drains that ERS, it remains to be seen. I think that's why he's not using it, because he doesn't see that red flashing light on the back of J-Man's car. So he doesn't know how much the Williams has. But at the moment, Mr. J-Man is looking really, really good. And if he can strap on those mediums to the end when Spartan Keith is on the hard tyres, he might be able to launch a counter-attack in the second stint and try and claw back that gap.
Yeah, he might just be able to do that, but Spartan Keith is really opening up the gap at the moment, and Fido Man has just made a move on QB as they come into turn 17 there, and the Alpha maybe made a little error on the exit. It's hard to tell as you can't see the drivers until they come around the corner, but there goes Fido as Lawrence sets the fastest lap of the race on the medium tyre as he's on a recovery drive to get back towards the top.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to drive his heart out now if he wants to get back on that podium. He doesn't have to worry about a... Oh no! Just I say it! He's gone for a spin! Lawrence in the Alpine at the long left-hander. Just a bit too much throttle there, trying to push too hard, and that's commentator's curse coming right in there as Lawrence down to P11, and now he's got to clear the McLaren of QB, and that'll have lost him around 7-8 seconds. So disaster for the championship leader here in Miami.
Yeah, certainly so. He's on the attack already though as he goes past QB almost immediately into turn 11 there and into this slower section. That's making up a place already after that spin, but not the race he would have wanted. Lauren Ors, he almost goes again.
He's got to be careful on those now super hot tyres. After one spin leads to another. So he's got to be careful, the championship leader, and of course it's more difficult to judge with no racing line because it usually gives you a little bit of an indicator, but he does not have that, so, and he's not used to it, so he's got to sort of rein himself in as Muhiti gets himself a 3-second time penalty. How crucial will that be? We saw him lose the win last week thanks to a time penalty for
Lolo Mado's out of the race. I think he's crashed. That's a safety car.
Safety car. So good news for the front runners, especially Spartan Keith. Actually, this is fantastic news for the Red Bull.
That's a horrible place to spin. He's spun going through turn 3 and has crashed into the barrier on the inside.
It's exactly the same place that he lost it in qualifying, actually. So clearly not a fan of that particular corner. But he is now out of the race, and we do have a safety car. Yeah, as I was saying, Muhiti, another time penalty. It's for a different reason this week, but last week a pit lane speeding penalty cost him the race win. So will we see something similar this week with that track limits penalty?
We may well do, but it's quite easy to get track limits around here, despite it being a street track. But I think the medium runners are going to come into hard tyres.
Spartan Keith is in.
Try and go all the way to the end. And this helps out Scott, actually, as this might take a pit stop away from him.
That is true, yeah. He might be able to come in and try going on the hards, or maybe he'll try something else and stay out and get a few positions. We'll have to see. Mr. J-Man disqualified!
J-Man disqualified!
Oh, he's accidentally overtaken the safety car. Oh,
that's what happened to you a couple of days ago.
He's done exactly what I did on Sunday in sprints. Accidentally overtakes the safety car and he's out. Oh no, I'm gutted for him. He was so fast today. He was looking so good. Oh no. That's horrible.
Commiserations. Codemaster strikes again.
Oh, that is absolutely horrible. I don't know what to say. Heartbreak for Mr. J-Man as he's looking for his best ever result in APPF1. He could have had at least a podium today. Definitely had the pace and the consistency for it, but just one lapse of concentration coming out the pits, and that is your race over, as I found out on Sunday. Oh no.
It's incredibly ridiculous, Rick, you're right. That's a safety car disqualification, but this gives us a chance to go and try and have a look at what happened at that race start. It's incredibly hectic, and I'm going to go back on the stream now, as I probably had a somewhat decent view of what happened. Alright, let's see here. If I go as slowly as I possibly can, I can have a look. Right, so let's see what happened. So Jamie F1 got an incredible start and goes challenging Spartan Keith. Lawrence gets a great start as well. J-Man actually drops back into P5. So there's 5 cars all going in for the same space of track. And then it looks like Lawrence misses his braking point, goes into the back of Spartan Keith, which causes him to spin into Jamie, who's trying to take the wide line, and then it looks as if J-Man misses his braking point and goes into the back of the red of I think that's Tommy Alex there. So I think the original contact between Jamie and Spartan Keith, and then into Jamie, then messed up Pommy Alex, who then in turn caught out Mr. J-Man, who went into the back of all this, turned in quite early on JBS Steve as well, not seeing him there, and then JBS Steve collects Henry as 7 cars all made contact with each other on the start there, and it's lucky that a number of them actually avoided the contact.
Yeah, well, thanks for that analysis, Sumo, and going back to see that. Mr. J-Man is in my chat. He's just said he's just messed it up. He just drove past the safety car, and J-Man, if you're still in chat, was it just that you're not used to being in first, and you just had lapse in concentration and forgot about the safety car? Because that's exactly what happened to me on Sunday. I just completely forgot about the safety car coming out the pits. Just wasn't concentrating and got disqualified in the same way. So I'm gutted for you, man. I'm gutted for you. You really deserved the podium today.
Yeah, certainly. So you're racing incredibly well, and qualifying went very well. SDK KC Gaming says, I've been told to pass the safety car and been disqualified before. That's certainly a bug.
Code beginners.
Yeah.
At it again.
I was saying the other day, I think they must have had some recommendations from Ferrari when they were hiring coders or programmers for this year's F1 game. As I think the bugs just get more and more ridiculous as the game goes on.
Well, J-Man, if you're still in chat, talk us through. Is this one of your favourite tracks on this year's game? Did you expect to be on the front row today, or was it a surprise that you had so much pace? There's Spartan Keith, by the way. He's come out of the pits in P2, so he's really benefited from this on fresh, hard tyres. He's got Muhiti just ahead, who's yet to stop. Muhiti is in a really bad situation here, actually. Starting on those hards, he's been properly screwed over by the timing of this safety car, and I think Spartan Keith could be away and clear if he can get past Muhiti quickly at this restart.
Yeah, Scott opted to stay out, and so did Lawrence as well. Tier came in and changed off his hard tyres onto the mediums, so he might make it to the end on those, especially since the safety car has extended the stint somewhat. But I think it's going to come in this lap as Femi Thrustmaster is now caught up to the back of Henry in the Aston Martin, and I'd expect to see the safety car in message any moment now as they come down the straight. I'm not used to the timing of it, as I've not done many races on here, but there it goes. The safety car peels away, leaving Muhiti to be your provisional safety car for the time being, as he now controls the pace, and he's going to have a real job warming up those hard tyres, and expect to see the likes of Tier, Lawrence and Scott taking advantage of the slow warm-up of the top 5.
Absolutely. Both Ferraris, by the way, with a track limits penalty as it stands. Muhiti still waiting, Muhiti. He's leaving this late, and he's gone. Tommy Alex has caught Spartan Keith sleeping further behind. Can the Australian make a move? Spartan moves across to defend as Tommy Alex goes to the inside. He's gone for it. Down the inside goes the Australian, and there's a little bit of wheel banging between them as they come through turn 2, but Spartan ends just in front. The Mercedes side by side as well, just behind, with Tommy Alex right in front of them. They've got to be careful here. Don't take everyone out, boys, as JBS Steve loses out there. Jamie F1 up to P4 and Tier up to P6.
Yeah, Tier really getting involved in this battle at the moment. He'll be happy to see as Scott goes for a look at the inside into that long left-hander, but no way through, but lets Lawrence through in the process as he gets up into P7. Does the Alpine, but Scott's going back on the attack again. Looks to the inside, to the outside. Tier going for a move on JBS Steve as they come into turn 11. He's got to go the long way around the Mercedes, and he manages to do it, it seems, with the grip and the higher temperatures in those tyres as well. JBS Steve had the threat out from Lawrence side by side through this section. They go incredibly tight stuff as the Aston Martin of Henry dives down the inside of the Alpine. Incredible racing.
What a move from Henry. He made up 2 positions there in a couple of corners just from opportunity. As into P7 goes the Aston Martin, but could he be vulnerable on the straight to Lawrence? Remember that the setups can be very wildly different on this track and still be similar paces. Tier now to the outside of Jamie F1, but he brakes far too late for the hairpin, goes very deep, and he's lost position to JBS Steve as well, as Muhiti is now 2.5 seconds clear.
Wow, Muhiti really got that restart right, it seems, as Tier's on the attack once again. He's going to have a look at the inside, perhaps. No, he stays
Lawrence
just behind the
Henry.
Mercedes at the moment, and here comes Lawrence and Henry. Henry's managed to keep the position at the moment as he defends the outside line. Little Manny Man and Fido Man actually pits, so no racing on track between those two. But an incredible restart as Tier has made his way past JBS Steve through the S section.
This is fantastic. It's the Aston Martins versus the Mercedes at the moment, as now Lawrence has been overtaken by Scott further back. The championship leader struggling on this safety car restart. He made a move early on, but then got absolutely mugged by Henry at the end of the DRS straight. And now JBS Steve trying to put pressure on Tier further up, but that lapped car of the McLaren getting in the way a bit there, as Jamie F1 now putting a lot of pressure on Tommy Alex for P3.
Yeah, he certainly is. Pommy has got that penalty as well. He's going to have to contend with that toward the end of the race. He's got a lot of pace, but he's got to come in again as JBS Steve and Henry both go off the circuit. I think Henry tried to make another move into the chicane. That might be a steward's inquiry there for that one. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I only saw the aftermath, but Scott now on the back of JBS Steve after that incident, and Scott is going to get the place before the corner, it seems, as the AlphaTauri moves into P7.
Yeah, it certainly is. Good move from Scott. But JBS Steve is going to be right behind him. Look at all the penalties at the moment. We're only about
comes Lawrence. He's all
halfway
over
through.
the back of the Mercedes. Gets a great run out of the final couple of corners. And straight past the Mercedes goes the Alpine. The Mercedes got nothing to fight with as he looks to try and go around the outside. But it's the Alpine into P8 and chasing after Scott now. These two are going to continue to battle.
Jamie and Pommy were right side by side as well through sector one.
Tis gone! Tis spun again!
Oh no, Tier all the way back down again. It's all gone wrong yet again for the Brit as he goes down to P10, and Scott and Henry right side by side as well as Henry keeps the position, and now Scott's lost out to Lawrence as well, and this lap McLaren is really getting in the way. Scott Rowley really needs to get out the way here of the leaders as Jamie and Pommy Alex side by side up to the left-hander. Jamie's got the inside for the next corner, and the Mercedes is up to P3. Great stuff from Jamie, and Muhiti now has a 3.5 second lead from Spartan Keith, but remember the Ferrari still has to pit.
Yeah, it certainly does, and I don't think Spartan Keith might still have the pace to just close that gap down a little bit, but there's a huge battle going on for P5 now as Henry leads this train, followed by Lawrence, who's on the attack already, opens the DRS up, doesn't need to use his ERS it seems, he's going to look to the inside, and Henry's going to have to go the long way around to defend this place. They go side by side into the next corner. Lawrence is squeezed to the inside as much as he dare. Who emerges through? It's Lawrence ahead of the Aston Martin
and
as they come through the corner. Oh, Henry's on the attack again. Scott has spun it on the exit, but Lawrence has the DRS as they come through and keeps the place for the time being.
And Henry nearly went into the back of Lawrence at turn 1, but just about managed to avoid the Alpine. So that's good reaction time there from the Aston Martin, but he has lost a second now thanks to that, and he will be under pressure from JBS Steve now. Maybe there's damage to Aston Martin. He's losing time at a rate of knots, and he's gone deep. I think there is damage to Henry's car. Yeah, he hasn't got a front left end plate, so Henry could be coming into the pits here pretty soon, and JBS Steve is going to be making the move down the inside, or well, it will be down the inside for the next corner, but he's going to have the DRS. Does Henry have ERS? Yes, he does, but JBS Steve has the inside. Can Henry hang it all the way around the outside of the left-hander to get the inside for the next corner? Yes, he can. Great stuff from the Aston Martin despite the wing damage.
Yeah, that was a great move. He just had the momentum to move around the outside and get ahead of the Mercedes once again, and manages to keep that position for now. I'm interested to see what the penalty situation is. I'm going to have a look now. It's 3 seconds spread out throughout most of the grid, with Muhiti, Tommy Alex, JBS Steve, Tier, Femi Thrustmaster, QB and Fido Man having those 3 second penalties. Henry has a 5 second time penalty here, so he will lose out to anyone of the 3 seconds who is within 2 seconds.
Yeah, he certainly will. Lawrence is one of the only, well, 6 drivers still in this race without a penalty. Lil Manny Man and Scott Rowley are way backs, but Scott, Lawrence, Jamie F1 and Spartan Keith are the only ones in the race that are penaltyless, and how crucial could that be by the end? Although Lawrence, he's done 11 laps on those mediums, there's still 11, 12 laps to go. Surely he can't make it to the end on those tyres. He's going to have to pit again.
Jamie F1 is on the attack of Spartan Keith. I'm not sure what's happened. That gap has come down quite dramatically now, and it looks like a game on for the provisional lead of this race. The Spartan Keith, Jamie and Pommy Alex all within about a second of each other.
Spartan Keith was in full control of this race before the safety car, but ever since then it's all gone downhill. Maybe there's damage to the Red Bull, I'm not sure. but Jamie F1 is really putting him under a whole host of pressure, and both of them without penalties. So this is a race for the net race lead between these two, and Pommy Alex is getting involved too in the Ferrari. Can Pommy Alex, the Australian, make the move? Here he comes on the straight, round the outside for the hairpin. He clearly got less wings on his setup than the Mercedes. Jamie squeezes him to the outside, but just enough room left for the Ferrari, and Jamie keeps position.
Wow, that was great racing on the exit of that corner there. Pommy Alex has got a ton more ERS in reserve than Jamie does. Jamie's got about 20%, Pommy about 80%, almost a full battery for the Ferrari. That might explain the straight line advantage that the Australian has for the moment. Meanwhile, Tira's caught back onto the back of JBS Steve, and the fight between Mercedes and Aston Martin continues. With only one Mercedes in the fight in the midfield. Femi Frostmaster, by the way, has found himself in the top 10, although he does have to pit still. As Tira's out of the race, he's crashed!
Oh no! He's crashed. Wait, did you see it? Did you spot it? Was it a spin?
I just spotted it. He's. I think he lost it as he came out of turn 4 or 5 and has gone into the barrier on the inside. That's a full course safety car.
And do you know who this helps? Muhiti, who's at 6 seconds clear. He's going to get a free pit stop onto the medium tyres to the end of this race, and he will be right in the mix. I think he'll come out maybe P5 thanks to the safety car. We'll have to see, but Muhiti will be delighted to see that. He might even go soft. Yeah, you're right. So we'll have to see. Little Manny Man's gone soft. He's into the pits and just come out on those fresh soft compound tyres. So who else will take the plunge? Will the hard tyre runners go in for mediums, I wonder? Or softs?
It is definitely a strategy call that will be worth.
And Muhiti's gone! Muhiti's gone! Oh no! He's gone at the hairpin under a safety car! He's going to be kicking himself! I don't believe it!
Pommy stayed out! Pommy stayed out.
Okay, it's Spartan Keith, Jamie and Lawrence all in, but Muhiti has to do the drive of shame into the pit lane after his spin. It looks like everyone else is following him, so he won't actually lose too much from this, but he will be down to P5. Did he take damage, I wonder? They're not replacing his wing at Ferrari, so I think he's fine. He has gone to the softs, as has most other people, so he hasn't actually lost too much from that. Although, if he hadn't spun, he'd be in P2 right now, and we'd have a Ferrari 1-2. So, I don't know if has Pommy Alex made a wrong call here to stay on the hards.
I think he has. I think he might not benefit so much from this, especially as he's got to sit behind the safety car. So even if he does come in, all the cars will just filter past him while he's in the pit lane. So I think a wrong strategy call from the Australian here. As this safety car period continues.
It could have been just to avoid the double stack, but I think the double stack would have been better overall for them. Wow, I can't believe Muhiti has spun there. He will be furious with himself. I know him. We've had him in APPF1 a while now, and he is his own biggest critic. So he will be furious about that one. Perhaps costing him a shot at the podium here with that 3-second penalty hampering him further. And now look who is behind his championship rival, Lawrence.
Yeah, certainly so. That is going to be a big hamper to Muhiti's championship, but there's still plenty of rounds to go, and he can only learn from this mistake. And as someone who has been in a position of being on a podium and then throwing it away at the last minute, I can attest to the grief that is caused by such an event, and Pommy is staying out. So he's going to get swallowed up as this safety car period ends.
It's his shades of Charles Leclerc and Silverstone. It's even the same car. So, yeah, this is... And he's even got a Red Bull and a Mercedes behind him. It's poetry. But yeah, Pommy is going to really struggle here at this restart on those hard tyres. He's got 6 cars right behind him on fresh soft tyres. At a track like this, he is really going to struggle, and I think he is going to plummet down the grid in the last few laps. I'm just looking at the championship standings at the moment. Spartan Keith, if he gets a win here, could be right back in. He's currently sitting 10 points behind Lawrence, but a win here would certainly get him further up the standings. Mr. J-Man's out. He was 5th in the standings. Speedo Man is down in 11th, and he was 4th. Pommy Alex is obviously the man to watch, but he is P3 in the championship, so yeah, I think we could have a real shake-up to the standings today.
Yeah, I think so too. This a lot of drivers perhaps out of position, and Fido Man outside of the top 10 right now may find himself making up a few places on this restart, but it will affect him. And I think the safety car is going to come in this lap as this little Manny Man, I think, is the last driver to catch up. He is, and I think he's another lapped driver.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not lapped.
No, he's not. He's on the lead lap.
He's on the lead lap.
So QB with a 3-second time penalty. The safety car is in this lap. Yeah, the only lapped car is the McLaren of Scott Rowley. I think Fido Man will dispatch of QB pretty quickly, but after that he'll have some trouble. Femi Thrustmaster could be another driver in big trouble here on those medium tyres, surrounded by the drivers on the softs, but those softs will start to lose their power at the end of the race, so we'll see how it goes. As it looks like Pommy Alex has gone already. He has, and he's caught Spartan Keith sleeping, so here we go.
Here we go. Pommy Alex getting a really decent restart at the minute. Jamie F1 on the attack already. Lawrence following suit as well. Muhiti has dropped back quite a bit on this restart at the minute, and Lawrence is all over the back of that Mercedes as they come into the S section of Sector 1.
Oh, mistake from Jamie, and Lawrence is into the wall. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest. I don't know if we'll see it in stewards, but it was a mistake from Jamie. Lawrence tried to find the gap, but it was closing after the mistake. I think if he hasn't got damage, he's lucky.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got any cosmetic damage that I can see on that front wing, but he might have that olive green damage that can be a pain, but maybe not so much on this year's iteration of Formula 1 car, as Lawrence is closing and closing again, looking for a move, is he? Has a little look, not quite close enough to make it stick at the moment. Spartan Keith is caught back up to Pommy Alex, who has got to defend for his life, but that penalty will strip him off the top step of the podium. So Spartan Keith is the provisional race leader at the minute, but he's got a number of cars chasing after him. Any of these cars could be a shot for the win today.
They certainly could. As look at those gaps, everyone's still right between each other at the moment. I was looking for Tio and I forgot he was out. But Spartan Keith looking for the move on Pommy Alex. It's only a matter of time when the DRS is turned on, and it could even be before that, as Spartan has got a fantastic exit out of the hairpin. He's not going to press the ERS button though. Now he is though. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1? No, he's going to wait a little bit longer, as we've got a fastest lap from Henry further back, which is surprising. That's surely a glitch. So isn't that a 119? Hang on a second. No, it's a 31, so yeah, I guess it was a good lap from Henry.
Ah, there we go. Then Lawrence all over the back of the Mercedes once against it. Perhaps no damage. 4 cars in this battle, but only really 3, counting the time penalties that Pommy Alex has, unless the other drivers all get time penalties to win this.
Here comes Jamie F1. Sorry to interrupt you, Sumo. Right behind Spartan Keith, but I think there's a slight setup difference between those two. Like I was talking about earlier, you can have very low wings on this track. Here comes
Lawrence going around the outside of Jamie. Has a little bit of a look still, doesn't quite close it. Can he get it done under braking? No, he looks to try and go underneath the Mercedes, but doesn't quite get the switch back. Tries around the outside of the next corner. Still no way through for that Alpine. And now Muhiti is caught onto the back of this. It's JBS Steve joins as well. Scott is in this fight too, as well as Femi Frostwasser and Henry and Speedo Man has just dropped out of it. But there's 9 cars all chasing each other down for what could be a race win or a podium.
Absolutely, and Scott is in a good position here. He's behind 2 cars with penalties. He hasn't got one himself, so he could be looking good here as Henry goes past Femi Flossmaster and Muhiti and Lawrence side by side for P4. Muhiti nearly making the move, but Lawrence getting the better exit. DRS is now enabled as Spartan Keith goes for the lead. Down the inside into turn 1. He makes the move in the Red Bull. Pommy Alex down to P2, tries to fight him back at turn 3, but Spartan Keith is past, and Jamie F1 APPF1 passed as well. Pommy Alex stuck on the curb. Down to P3 he goes, but Lawrence still keeping Muhiti at bay.
Yeah, these two have been scrapping for a couple of corners now, and that was an incredible bit of racing. And Muhiti having another look. He looks to the inside as Lawrence goes quite deep, but he's pinned onto the inside and doesn't get the best exit out of the corner. And Muhiti forced to get a poor exit and sit behind once again. Pommy Alex all over the back of Jamie F1, might look for a move into turn 11. He's looking toward the inside on this occasion.
Spartan keeps in trouble.
Wide as well. Spartan keeps in a bit of trouble. There's Pommy Alex right down the inside, caught up at 69, trying to make a move stick, but doesn't quite do it. Pommy Alex doesn't have the grip, perhaps he does, he goes around the outside and keeps the position.
How has he done that on those hard tyres all the way around the outside? I don't know how he found the grip to do that, but Pommy Alex still in P2, and Spartan Keith is in big trouble here on this long straight. Pommy Alex with the DRS and DRS. He's going to keep the lead in the Ferrari. Down the inside he goes. It's ahead before the corner, and Spartan Keith could be in trouble from Jamie as well. Down the inside for the Mercedes, not quite. A little bit of contact for all three drivers as Pommy Alex goes deep, and here comes Jamie trying to take out two drivers. I can't. You're going to have to go too much.
Now as well. There's so many drivers. It's 4 wide into top one, perhaps, as they come into it. It is almost 4 wide. This is incredible racing between all these guys. And then the other Ferrari and Mercedes have been brought into this fight. Jamie F1 now in the lead of the race.
Lawrence is gone.
Lawrence is gone, and he drops way back behind Pommy Alex once again, and he's in the clutches of Muhiti and Julian Steve as well. Oh, no front wing for the Alpine. That is an incredible shame, and he's going to drop way down. That is our championship leader out. Jamie F1 and Spartan Keith going toe to toe through the next corner. Spartan Keith was ahead there for a moment, but Jamie F1 gets a much better exit, and again it looks like he's going to be 3 wide into the next corner. Spartan Keith goes up into the lead once more. Pommy Alex going around the outside and maybe having a look at Spartan Keith as well. He dives down the inside. What an incredible move, almost takes out his teammate.
And Pommy Alex has to go deep, and Muhiti, I think, just missed his braking point there. It ended up in a move, but I think Pommy Alex has really lost out there, down to P7, and it's all the fault of his teammate. They come through. I'm losing my voice, Sumo.
Spartan Keith has a time penalty. Spartan Keith a time penalty.
He does, so Jamie F1's in prime position here, and Muhiti could be fighting for a podium as well. Here comes Lawrence without a wing. How's he doing this in the Alpine? Down the inside of Jamie. Jamie back round the outside, but he's going to be forced wide because Lawrence has no downforce in that Alpine. Lawrence stays out. Surely not. He does stay out, and he's going to try and finish this race with no wing. He's going to find it difficult. Here comes Henry.
He's going to go around the outside of Spartan Keith for the lead of this race, side by side, but Spartan Keith closing the door, but then it opens back up again, and they go side by side for this air section again. Spartan spun!
Oh no! Was it contact? Was it just a spin?
No, he lost it. He lost it on the throttle and lost it.
Spartan Keith has thrown away a race victory here, as Henry now could be in the mix. He's in P4 in the Aston Martin.
Jamie down the inside of the Alpine and gets ahead. The Alpine got no turning, and without a front wing, he's going to find it hard to get it stopped in braking zones and have very little
He's got the DRS
drag.
though. And here comes Henry in the Aston Martin. There's contact as Jamie forces Henry into the wall. There was not much the Aston Martin could have done there, but down the inside he goes. He's got no end plate now, has the Aston Martin, but Jamie is down to P4, and there's a bit of contact between them as well, as Jamie doesn't anticipate Henry's braking without that front end plate. I don't know if the Mercedes has damage as well. So many cars have damage, I don't know where to look. Scott is in P7 trying to make his way through as well, but Muhiti now has a 2-second gap to Lawrence at the moment. I think Muhiti could win this race.
He certainly could. Lawrence is going to slow down the cars ahead of him without that front wing, and Scott just got a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. He gained a place, it seems. I think he was under attack from Femi Thrustmaster a number of times into that twisty section there, and maybe got the position off the circuit and didn't give it up. So Scott has found himself with a penalty and is going to lose out big time.
I really need a drink, but I can't turn away. This is absolutely fantastic. Scott and Pommy Alex now side by side through turn 2 and 3. Scott has gotten the move done in the AlphaTauri. I don't know if he'll challenge that 5 seconds in the stewards, but Scott up to P6. Pommy Alex down to P7 now on those hard tyres. He's still fighting hard, but now he's got Femi for company
Oh, here
behind
comes
him.
Jamie on the inside of Henry. Henry's struggling with a bit of wing damage now, and the Mercedes has got the move done, but I think Henry is all over the back of that Mercedes. Is going to look to go back at that car once again. They're going to go side by side once more as they run all the way down to 11. Almost contact between the two of them, and the Aston Martin gets up ahead once more and into P3.
As Jamie goes into the back of Henry at the corner, just braking a tiny bit too late as Henry keeps the position for now. Lawrence has dropped off massively from Muhiti, as you'd expect, with no front wing. I don't know how Lawrence is still in P2, but Muhiti is now 3 seconds ahead. He's going to win this race unless he has another moment. Sumo, surely we can't have more drama in this race.
I don't know, the laps are waning on, but it's a lot of drama happening in a short space of time, and Pommy Alex and Scott are going to go toe-to-toe once again as they come down the straight. The two Mercedes hounding after that Aston Martin. Of course, Pommy down the inside, dives onto the Alpha Tauri. There's a bit of carnage ahead as the Mercedes clash with the Aston Martin and get up ahead of him into the next corner.
Here comes Henry again. No one's got any ERS in this train at all. It's all going to be on pure straight line speed. The Mercedes make contact. JBS Steve going into the back of his teammate. And Pommy Alex is round further back. He's down to P9. Oh, no! Femi Thrustmaster's gone past Speedo Man into P7. We've got more battles going on. Scott trying to get past JBS Steve. Can you tell my voice is gone yet by the fact that I can't change tone? Scott down the inside.
Scott, he's good down the inside of two cars, and it's going to be the Alpha Tauri that comes ahead.
Oh no!
Henry are incredibly close to the into the wall. That's a huge crash.
Absolutely massive crash, but I don't think there was really much Henry could do about that. It was just a bit of an unfortunate racing incident from my POV. I don't know if we'll see it in Stewards, but Scott is going to be annoyed with that as he gets himself a 3-second time penalty as well, as he's going to go down all the way down, as Jamie F1 now trying to get himself into P2. Now he's gotten all those cars behind him off his back. He can chase down the Alpine without a front wing.
Femi Thrustmaster got caught up in that crash and is now out of the race. I'm not exactly sure what happened. That might be seen in the steward's room a little bit later. But anyway, the carnage continues in this Miami Grand Prix. We've got just under a lap and a bit left to go, and Lawrence with no front wing is slowly holding off Jamie F1, who will attack soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Henry's gone past Scott further back, but neither of them have any front wing as they go on to the last lap, but Henry up into P6. We've got Jamie trying to get past... Oh no! And could that be his loss of P2? Pommy Alex getting past Scott as well. The AlphaTauri really struggling. It's such a shame for him because this race could have been so much more after that double overtake, but just a bit of wheel tangling and the exit, and absolute misery for him and Femi Thrustmaster and Henry as Spartan Keith sets the fastest lap now. Pommy Alex round the outside of Henry as they still go through. Henry back down the inside. Henry again having a spin and losing out down to P8. I mean, every move has been contact, but I mean, there's not been any malicious intent. It's just been really difficult for our drivers to make moves, and that late safety car has really caused this race to descend into carnage in these last few laps.
Tito Man is close to the back of JBS Steve. He might get himself up one more place and get ahead. This is for position between these two as they both have the same amount of time penalties. So the Alpine finds himself a lot higher up the order than he originally was after all of this carnage. Manages to get his way through it all, but it's going to be Muhiti after getting a 3-second time penalty and surviving the carnage that was the final few laps, wins the Miami Grand Prix here. Lawrence, can he keep hold of P2? He can. He's just built that gap up enough. It looks like it's going to be a Mercedes 3 and 4 as they come across the line with Vito Mala P5. A surprise for the Alpine for sure after his pace today. Pommy Alex P6 after leading the race and fighting valiantly to keep his place. An unhappy Scott will come home in P8 after time penalties, and I'm sure he might have a few reports to send in as Henry gets himself into P7. Both drivers finishing without wings. That's 3 drivers with no wings. QB in P9, a decent showing for the McLaren. The Spartan Keith, disappointing show from him after a dominant lead of the race. Finds himself in P9, QB dropping down to P10. Little Manny Man will be your last across the line in P11 with Scott Rowley already finishing, being a lap down.
Oh my goodness gracious me. Oh my goodness gracious me. I have nothing to say to that. I think we're gonna have a lot to do tonight, but
I'd be ready,
again,
Jacko.
I just think it's Miami, to be honest. This track, really difficult to make moves, really difficult to stay clean when everyone's so close. I called it after qualifying when everyone was so close on the times. I thought this could be difficult in the race, and indeed it was. But I think we're going to have a lot of angry drivers to deal with. But it was certainly entertaining.
Yes, it really was. Wow, what an incredible race. Having a little look as the podium celebrations are underway as Muhiti takes his first win of the season, flanked by the Alpine of Lawrence and the Ferrari of the Mercedes of somebody. I think it was Jamie.
It was Jamie, yeah.
It was Jamie. There we go. Absolute carnage in the final laps of the race, but no lack of entertainment from our drivers this evening. So Muhiti then taking the top step, flanked by Lawrence and Jamie joining him on that podium. JBS Steve comes home in P4, with Fido Man coming home in P5, a decent showing for Alpine, who will likely defend their championship lead at the moment. Pommy Alex P6, and our championship contenders, I guess, in the top 6 already with Mercedes. We're going to be trailing a little bit, but I'm sure we'll find themselves back in it. Henry P7 in the Aston Martin with Scott P8. Spartan Keith coming home in P9 after a disappointing race, with QB P10 rounding off the top 10. Little Manny Man comes home in P11 with Scott Rowley in P12, and Femi Thrustmaster Tier, Lalo Maddo and Mr. J-Man not finishing the race.
Well, that was certainly one of the races in history at Miami. I think I think even Tier 1 is going to have some carnage going on here. This track seems to be absolutely lethal. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, well done to Muhiti, well done to the rest of the podium as well. But I mean, that race could have been absolutely anyone's at any point.
Yeah, it certainly could. There was a lot of people in contention for the race win, and I don't think there was any malicious contact between any of our drivers. It's just the nature of the nature of the circuit that brought drivers clashing together while they battled for position. But an incredibly entertaining race for you guys, and I think Ghost and I are going to be recovering from a sore throat for a little while.
Yes.
Oh wow. Any final thoughts, Ghost?
I need a drink.
So do I. I think a nice cup of tea would go down a treat right about now. But anyway, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Positive Perception Media Design Products. Once again, please do give all the love and support you can on their socials and on their YouTube if you do enjoy motorsports and liveries as well. Lifepath says insert name is typing in incident report. A lot of incidents coming in, I assured. I hope, Jackalacko, you're not too busy this evening because you're going to be caught up with incidents, I think. But anyway, make sure you go check out all of our APPF1 affiliates. Go check out Ghost's channel as well for the Onboards view. And make sure you've left a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I want to quickly say that we made it to 100 subscribers just after Tier 2 last week. I think it was on the Wednesday. So thank you to everybody who has supported my commentary journey thus far and been alongside myself and Ghost for what is about a year now for Ghost and I, but over a year now for just myself. So a big thank you to everybody who has subscribed thus far, and hopefully the support keeps going. Anything you'd like to say, Ghost?
Can't believe it's been a year. Blimey.
Yeah.
But I think any drivers watching, send your incidents to incident reports. No screaming and crying in chat, please. We've seen and heard it all. So just get your report in incident reports. If you have any major complaints, then send them in DM to me, and I'll answer you. But anyway, it's Miami. No one is trying to take anyone out. It's just this track is really difficult, even for us here at APPF1, to keep clean. But I think the worst thing was that safety car coming out, everyone coming in for softs, the pace being so close, and it was just that we had 4 cars wide into turn 1. It's not like anyone, no one's going to back out of that, are they? But also, no, it's difficult to get everyone through situations like that. So it's a tricky one, and you know, these things happen, these tracks can happen, and I think we may have to consider Miami in future.
Yeah, certainly. So we'll have to wait and see how Tier 1 goes, and I think it will appear in Sprint as well at some stage. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now. Go get myself a nice cup of tea. Ghost will probably go get himself a drink as well. After all of that, we're going to sift through a lot of Discord messages in a little while. But anyway, thank you so very much for joining us here for Tier 2 tonight. I'll probably be next streaming tomorrow, actually, with the career mode, so please do check that out. As well as a report has already come in, Ghost, so it's going to be a long night. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you next week for some more Tier 2 action as we head to Mexico. Goodbye.
Goodbye.